Hello YouTube. This is just going to be a quick review on the CRKT Hissatsu folder. I've had this knife for over a year now, and I'm going to tell you this isn't going to be a very in-depth review. It's just going to be a little quick review telling you the things I like and the things I don't like. First off, I'll start with the things I like. The price isn't bad, for one. When I got it, I think I paid $55 or something. So price is pretty good for what you're getting. Another thing I like, the blade shape. I find this to be a very nice blade shape and works pretty well for most tasks. The point isn't too fragile. It doesn't have too fragile of a tip. It holds an edge pretty good. I mean, it could be a little bit better, but I mean, for the price point, with this design, you're not going to get much better. To me, the blade isn't too aggressive looking. Sometimes when you have to open something, you pull a knife out to open something, and people give you a look like you're a psycho with certain blades. And to me, this one here isn't that bad, really. Another thing I like is the handle shape and the very size of it. It's a very wide and thicker handle, which for me, since I have bigger hands, works out great, as you can see. It's a very neutral handle, which it's designed to be, so it can be held in a lot of different grips. So you can use it, okay, in all those types of grips. Another thing I like that has to do with the handle is the fact that if it's closed, with the very size of this, I mean, I have bigger hands obviously, but you can still see there's some knife sticking out. So it's not too small, too short rather. It's not too short. And like this, if you need to, it can be used non-lethal. As you can see, there's handles sticking out past my hand like this. So, or if you need to break something, and this is a pretty heavy-duty knife like that, you know, for breaking things like that. If you need to, obviously it's not suggested, but it can be done. Another thing I like is the auto locks. As you can see, that little button, what it does is when you open it, goes up into place, and what that does is it locks the liner. So from here, that liner is not moving until you take and you manually pull it back. Then you can close it. Some of the other, well, shouldn't say all, or some, actually all of the other knives designed by James Williams, like this one, has what's called locks, which means you have to take and manually push it up. It's not auto locks. I prefer auto locks because it's just one less thing to do to make it more sturdy. Another thing I like is that this is spring assisted, but the nice thing is if maybe you don't like spring assisted knives, or maybe you're somewhere where you can't have them, you can see the little thing right there. What that is it's the bar. So you unscrew a little screw in there, pull that bar out, and from there it's a manual knife, and it's actually really smooth as a manual folder too. Now for the things I don't like. What I don't like. This pocket clip is a little bit slick, but to be fair, most are, so I end up putting a little bit of traction tape there. Handle in certain areas where they contact my hand, it's a little bit slick for me, so I just put a little bit of traction tape all right here. This piece here is more or less to make it easier to pull out of the pocket. I'm going to probably take and lengthen this eventually, though. I did this because I ran out of traction tape. And I use the Talon Grips traction sheets. This is the rubber, and it works really nice on knives. So eventually I'm probably going to take and get another sheet of this and do it longer, probably from here, you know, like that, and then this long. Another thing is the blade finish wore off. As you can see, it was wearing off and I took it off. When too much of it was just, worn off. And the finish wore off the pivot and the rest of the hardware, even on the pocket clip a little bit. But it actually held up pretty good on the pocket clip. Another thing that I don't necessarily like is this opening disc is a bit small. I mean, if you really push, it's going to pop out. But if you just like that, you can even hear the blade, then it's not going to come out. I would like to see this here made a little bit bigger, like maybe just a millimeter or two bigger. If this was made a little bit bigger, like 1 millimeter on each side, it would probably be a lot better. Another thing is that there's no lanyard loop on here. Probably didn't do it because of the spring, the torsion bar, but it would have been nice to see a little lanyard loop right there. I typically like to put lanyards on my knives. Now, another thing is I kind of wish that they made a version that had a little wave on it. So as you pull out of the pocket, it opens. This doesn't have it. So to open this, you have to pull it out of your pocket and then open it. Not a big deal. Really, it's not. And that's just personal preference. Even something that would be a removable wave would be really nice somehow. Like maybe some type of redesigned opening disc or something. I don't know. Now, the biggest issue I have with this, and why I don't carry this much, is, and this may not make sense, is because of the name. Hissatsu. Hissatsu in Japanese means sure kill. For those of you who are military or police, not a big deal for you. But as a civilian, if you had to use this as a defensive, tool, as it's designed to, if you had the unfortunate, opportunity to do it, the prosecutor would hang you on the wall for having a knife that means sure kill. So, it'd be nice for CRKT to design one just like this, but for civilians with a different name, and maybe even with the wave. So, that's my review. It's a pretty good knife. I still like it. I don't carry it very much. But it still gets used a lot in my house. I have different knives for different things, and sometimes, well, most of the times when I have to open something, this is the knife that I reach for. I keep it right near my bed. So, thanks for watching the review. I hope this was informative. I hope this helped make your decision about whether or not you want one of these. And please like, share, and subscribe. See ya.